Hi, welcome to another episode of A Couple of Things. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the things I learned in 2023. I know we're already in February, but it's my podcast, it's not your podcast. Anyway, thank you for listening. And I have 8 things that I learned, and I'll share all of them in this episode.
But before I go into the 8 things that I've learned this year, let's talk about my habits tracker. Let's do an update. If you caught the first couple of episodes, you remember that I talked about how there were some habits that I wanted to track this year, and that's something new that I'm going to try out. And so I tracked 30 minutes of exercise daily, do my Bible study, do 10,000 steps, record podcast episode, drink 2 liters of water, and practice Dutch for 15 minutes daily. And here's how I did. On exercise, 30 minutes of exercise minimum daily. I've done it 25 out of 30 times because I started on the 2nd of January, not the 1st. So 25 over 30 is great. Bible study, 30 over 30. 10K steps is the worst. It's 22 over 30. Podcast recording, as you know, I've been doing this 30 over 30. Drinking 2 liters of water every day, 24 over 30. And practicing Dutch. I started that one on the 3rd actually, so 29 over 29. So 100% on Bible study, podcast episode, and practicing Dutch. Not so great with all the other ones, but we move again in this new month of February. All right, so now let's go into the things that I've learned in 2023, or things that I learned in 2023. Number one, focus on systems and habits, not outcomes. Because sometimes the outcomes are out of your control, but the habits, the things that you do, are in your control. So instead of saying, I want to get a promotion, is think about what habits do I need to develop to become someone who can get a promotion. So what do I need to do to get a promotion? I need to be excellent at work. I need to have like very good performance rating, and then I work backwards. So what do I need to do daily or weekly so that I can have good performance rating? I need to show my achievements. So what do I need to do daily or weekly to keep track of the achievements that I have? I need to be visible in my organization. What are the things I can do daily, weekly, monthly to be visible in my organization? Instead of thinking about, oh, the goal is I must get a promotion or a raise, because there are things that happen in the world outside of you, other people, changes in the ecosystem, the economy, and blah blah blah, that impact the possibility of you getting a promotion or a raise, and those things are not in your control. So instead of focusing on the things that may not be in my control, I have the overarching goal, which is in my mind is to get a promotion or a raise. But instead of focusing on that, I'm focusing on the systems and the habits that I need to be able to get that thing. Because if at the end of the day I don't get that thing, the reaction we usually have is, if we don't get the tangible thing at the end, we may become like slack and be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter, all my efforts were wasted, blah blah blah." But if you think about it as systems and habits and the person that you are becoming in doing those things, then even if you don't get the actual end thing that you wanted, you still see that you have grown, you have improved, you have developed in certain ways. Also think about it with weight loss, which is the common example that everybody thinks of. If you're thinking about it like, oh, I want to lose 25 kg, or I want to run a marathon in 3 hours, that is all well and good. But if you think about it more as, this is the kind of person that I can become, and these are the kind of habits that I can develop, that even if I don't make that um 3 hour marathon, or I don't hit that 25 kg goal, these are the habits that I'm doing daily, weekly, monthly, that are enabling me to become the kind of person that is consistent in my life. And that takes me to the second thing that I learned, which is consistency over intensity. When I thought about like my fitness and my health, because that's something I really focused on last year, I was very looking into like, oh, I must do 2 hours in the gym, I must do this, I must do that. But those things were not sustainable for the life that I had or the life that I am living, right? And instead of trying to do that, I just started thinking more of how to be consistent. So doing things that I enjoy, moving my body in ways that I like. And like I'm doing this year, doing 30 minutes of exercise every day. And it doesn't have to be like lifting weights. It can be going for a walk. It can be running or going on the treadmill. It could be lifting weights. It could be anything. It could be a dance class. It could be a Pilates class. But the important thing is that I'm consistently moving my body in ways that I enjoy and that are also stretching me, and not just thinking that, oh, I have to spend 10 hours in the gym and whatever. And so you can apply that into anything. Like if you want to finish the Bible in a year, it's not by using
10 hours on Sundays to read the whole Bible. It's by finding, if it's 10 minutes every day that you can find to read the Bible, then do that. If it's reading a chapter a day, do that. Like, find whatever thing that you can do consistently, daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, to get you to where you want to go. As my coach TDK will say, consistency is the brain pot of the anointing. So, consistency. Number three, I can learn anything and do anything, but at the same time, I can't do everything. So I can learn whatever I want to learn. I can, if there's something that I don't know now, I can know it. I can stretch myself. I can discover new things. I can do all of those things, but I can't do everything at the same time. There's a limit to my time. There's a limit um, to the things that I can achieve at any given point based on the time that I have. So if I try to do everything all at once, I'll end up doing nonsense. So it's better for me to pace myself out, to think about what I want to achieve over the year, over the next 6 months, and then, or even in a day, and think about what is the most important thing that I need to achieve and how can I do this, and then move on to the next thing, and so on and so forth. Not trying to do everything all at once or trying to do everything by myself, relying on other people, asking for help, those kinds of things are very important. Number four, planning on how to work on your goals, systems, and pre committing helps me not to slack. So, in the nights before, if I have a gym class, I check the gym class where it's happening because I was using ClassPass and going to multiple gyms for different classes and check what's happening. So I know that I need to be out of the house by this time to get to my class on time. I pre commit. I tell my husband that I'm going to do this and do that. And I tell people that are close to me that can keep me accountable. And having those systems of accountability and pre committing to things helps it so that you don't slack or you don't give up or you just don't do the thing. So pre-committing can be, if I'm going to dinner with a friend, I'm going to pay a 10 euro deposit in the restaurant if they have that option so that I don't get out of it. I don't look for an excuse not to go. So pre-commit. Make a decision in your mind that this is what I'm going to do because it helps you with actually doing it. Number five, be quick to adjust when things aren't working. There were so many times last year where something wasn't working. I just kept pushing at it and pushing at it and pushing at it, thinking that doing that to make it work. But my dears, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you need to leave the thing alone, go away, come back, do something else, come back to it in 6 months, in 3 months, the next day, whenever, or you need to totally change your plan because something has changed outside of the scope of what you can control. Or if you decide to work with someone on something and you realize that the working relationship is not going well, in the instance, if it's in your office now, you may not be able to change that because you're not the one hiring, you can't fire, or you can't just get a new job immediately now to leave the place. But if it's in a situation where you can change that, where you can say that, oh, this working relationship is not working anymore, this partnership is not working, so maybe we need to let go of it, right? So don't hold on to things and try to make everything work all the time. Think about what is important to make work and what you can let go of. Also, as I'm saying you in this episode, I'm talking to myself like, Lade, this is the thing that you learned that you need to do, right? So if you find anything helpful and you want to pick it up, great. But I'm really talking to myself here. Number six, friends and friendships are important. People are important. Show up for people and enable people to show up for you by sharing what you need. And I've talked about friendships in like 3 episodes in January, and I'll link to them in the show notes. Number seven, you have time. Well, I said time is limited. You only have 24 hours a day and you need to sleep, you need to rest, you need to do all these things. You have time. You don't have to achieve everything in life right now before you turn 30. There is no timetable or calendar that says that you must do this by this age necessarily. So if something doesn't work out now, it doesn't mean that in future it will never work out. And somebody who I really admire, her name is Yemisi Isidi. She said something during Christmas last year that I don't remember the exact quotes, but this is the gist of it. Because you're not able to go out and spend money and do all of these things this year, it doesn't mean that next year or in a future time you won't be able to do it. So don't overspend money to try to do all those things now. And it really stuck with me. And it's so true because sometimes we have this tendency to feel like we must do everything right now. But really, you don't have to. You can take your time. You can pace yourself. Some people move faster than others. Some people do things earlier than others, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. Focus on your journey, focus on what you're doing. You have time. And finally, number eight, stick to your core beliefs and do not let fear or anger drive your decision making. This is something that every year I keep relearning, and it keeps reiterating why it is so true to me. I need to constantly remember that my core beliefs are my values, my core beliefs, my guiding frameworks in life are very important, and as much as possible stick to them in whatever situation. And whenever I've talked about how letting fear and anger drive decision making has never worked out for me. I don't know, like for other people, but it has never resulted in anything good. When I try to do things from fear, when I do things because I'm afraid or I'm angry. That's why I always give myself room. I don't have to make any decision right now. I can take my time, think carefully about it. How do I want to feel at the end of this thing? Even though my anger, my fear may be telling me something, I shouldn't listen to them. I should listen to Jesus, love, the voice of reason, and not be trying to do things because I'm afraid or I'm angry. So those are the 7 or 8 things that I learned this year. I'm going to recap it now. So to recap, the 8 things that I learned in 2023. If anything here resonates with you, pick it up. If it doesn't, leave it. Number 1, focus on systems and habits, not outcome, because not everything is in your control. So do what you can control. Number 2, consistency over intensity. Number 3, I can do everything, but I also can't do everything. Number 4, plan, pre-commit, and create systems to help you prevent not doing things you want to do. Number 5, be quick to adjust when things aren't working. Number 6, friends and friendships are important, and showing up and having people show up is very, very important. Number 7, you have time. If it doesn't work out now, it may work out later. Number 8, stick to your core beliefs and values and do not let fear and anger drive your decision making. And I extracted these lessons and from 2023 from when I filled out the GDK's annual review templates, which I shared in one of the first episodes that I recorded of the podcast. I will link everything in the show notes again. So I hope you found this helpful. Bye. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of A Couple of Things. If you enjoyed this episode or found any part of it insightful, don't forget to share with your friends on your social media, and be sure to leave a comment or a review if you can on your podcast listening app. Thank you.